Hello, everybody. Like to filming the backrooms will never forget. Let's do this.
The movie is almost here, and its first teaser trailer tells us so much about what this film is actually about. Here's a hint. We're all living in the mind of something we can't possibly comprehend.
Bond.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, a show that is once again no-clipping into your subscription feed. Smash that subscribe button. Make sure you're protected against the bacteria monster lurking in these holes. So, finally, the Backrooms are back. Yeah, the viral analog horror YouTube series created by Kane Pixels, based on the online meme about being trapped in endless, fluorescently lit hallways, has finally transformed into a psychological horror film, with its first poster and teaser trailer released online a couple of weeks back. Have to say, I really appreciate this poster. There's no frills. It knows exactly what it is, and, I mean, come on, you know I bought one. Can't wait to get this framed and hung up right next to the Film Theory 10th anniversry poster, available over at Theoryverse.store. Anyway, we've been covering the Backrooms for years at this point. It's actually one of my favorite series.
You guys, if you want me to watch like this in the Backrooms series or the Minecraft series or the choose the MacPack channels, then comment down below if I should react to all of them.
We've never talked about. In case you need a refresher, because it has been a minute, the Backrooms is all about a mysterious world that seems to be layered on top of, or beneath, ours. There are endless halls, and it seems like anyone can no-clip or disappear into the Backrooms at any point from anywhere. An organization known as Async has taken a keen interest in the Backrooms, hoping to make money off of it because, you know, you gotta love capitalism, but there are terrible monsters lurking within it. They have...
What? They can't even make him fucking cripple. Damn, why do you look like that?
Get free into the real world. Our running theory has been that the Backrooms are a sort of video game simulation full of all of the cut or unused content for the real world. And now, the movie seems like it's going to be giving us some real answers about what is really going on here in the Backrooms. Yeah, despite being short and only featuring like some voiceover and different versions of one room, that dialogue tells us a lot about where this story is going. It was simple but effective, and there's just so much to say about it. Though it does seem like Kane has a few words about our previous theories back from when he was interviewed by Smosh alike.
If I can be completely blunt, the film theory interpretation is fairly off.
Oh.
What? Wait, Gary? So did that something right?
Off? Oh. Well? The Backrooms is a viral analog YouTube series created by Kane Pixels based on the online meme No, but for real, it's not often that a creator actually goes out of their way to interact with the theory community like this. And if our running theory about the Backrooms isn't the direction Kane's headed in, that excites me so much. We get to take another look at this world and try to think about it in a new angle, and that's something that we don't get to do that often. I actually have some pretty big plans about revisiting these old videos before the movie because of this, but we'll get to that someday, don't you worry. But for now, today, I want to break down this teaser and just how much it tells us about both the plot of this movie and the wider Backrooms lore. Is it crazy that I pulled almost 6 pages of a script out of 1 minute of a teaser? Maybe, but it not only tells us who the characters of the story are going to be, but may have just cracked exactly what the Backrooms are wide open. So get your hazmat suits ready once again, loyal theorists. We're no-clipping in. So first things first, let's actually break down the teaser, shall we? The trailer starts with a shot of what looks like an abandoned room. There's a chair in the corner, a bookshelf, some trash on the floor, that sort of thing. Most importantly, though, we are likely in the quote-unquote real world. We see windows leading outside with natural sunlight streaming through them. So, more or less, this looks like just somebody's room in a house or apartment or something like that. But, before we can really get settled, well, the camera starts to dip down into the floor, almost like we're no-clipping downward, right? As we move, we reveal the same room again. This one also appears to be in the real world again because of the sunlight kind of coming in through the window, but there is some weird chromatic aberration at the edge of the light coming in here, so that might signify that it's actually some like weird artificial light. It's hard to tell right now. The same chair and bookshelf are here, but otherwise the room is empty. Everything else is gone. The camera then goes into the floor again, no clipping through and revealing yet another version of this same room. But this one is wrong. It's off. The windows are covered by what appears to just be the wall, and the chair has sunken into the floor. The bookshelf has been duplicated, stacked on top of each other, and is clipping into the wall itself. We clip through the floor again, and the new version of the room is even more off. The windows have sunken on the wall. The bookshelf is basically gone, and the chair, well, there are two of them, and they're much skinnier and pushed against the wall. One of them is like in the wall. The trailer also has the same 3D generated assets that the web series does, and really, this looks great for the budget of this film and how weird and sci-fi you have to be with the backrooms. Guess they were wise and really started saving their money, which would have been easier with the sponsor for today's theory, Chime. Especially because they're offering up to a $350 bonus to sign up, but just hold that thought. So if you don't know, Chime is the #1 most loved banking app out there. Millions of Americans use it to manage and save their money, and given world events, well, you've seen prices lately. You'll know that you're going to want to pinch those pennies when and where you can. Chime offers a high...
Does he know that the pennies are gone? Or what?
Yield savings account, which earns up to 3% APY. That's 7 times higher than the national average. Basically, that means that if you put, say, $7,000 into one of these accounts, you'll be earning around $210 in a year instead of the $27 you'd get with the national average APY. I don't know about you, but that's like an entire month's worth of groceries for me. It's totally worth it. On top of that, Chime makes it so easy to save. If you set up Chime as your direct deposit for your paycheck, you can set it so it automatically pulls just a tiny chunk of that money straight into your savings account. It's like it's no clipping right into that account. So you can start building those savings without even thinking about it. Or you can even round up every purchase to the nearest dollar and put those quarters and dimes into savings every time you spend. Not to mention that you can also get your paycheck up to 2 days early with Chime. It's like the backrooms. The benefits just keep going and going and going and going. And best of all, Chime is offering a bonus of up to $350 with a new Chime account using my link in the description below or by scanning the QR code on screen. It's just more cash on top of all the other money you're going to be saving with this high-yield savings account. And hey, since it's tax season and that's in full effect, you can actually file your taxes for free through the Chime app and get your federal refund up to 5 days early with direct deposit. Anyway, thank you again to Chime for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into the back rooms. We clip through the floor again, and now there's nothing in the room, just yellow walls and a light. Even the doors to the room are gone. Next room, and it's also empty. But, well, it looks like there's an outline for another floor plan peeking up through the floor. It's very strange. The room has also been simplified. There's no little hallway in the back leading to another room. Through the floor again, and yet again, the room has been simplified. But now there's like a strange, small passageway, like little hallway leading into the darkness. Down again, and the passageway has grown and basically covers this entire corner. We then go down one final time, and we find ourselves in the classic look of the back room. Fluorescent lights, walls, and hallways that make no sense. Noisy yellow carpets. You get the idea. Cue title, cut to black. Now, that imagery is weird, and over top all of this, we hear a conversation. Firstly, we hear someone say, "I found something." This is the voice of Chiwetel Ejiofor, a fantastic actor that you'll recognize as, oh, it's that guy from Doctor Strange, The Martian, and The Lion King. And just real quick, how insane is it that Kane got this guy for his first movie? Anyway, he's having a conversation with a woman who asks, "Could you find him?" This character is played by Renata Reinsva, who is the other lead in the movie. Ejiofor's character then explains,
"Found a place. It's massive in there. It just goes on and on and on. All these rooms. This place builds them. Actually, more like it remembers them. And the more times it remember something, the less it does.
Now, on the face of things, it might not seem like we get a ton of information out of this teaser, but if you break down what is actually said here, what we know about the movie from outside of the teaser, and how it recontextualizes a lot of previous information we had from the web series, we can learn a lot. Firstly, can we figure out who these characters actually are? Well, the official synopsis for the movie reads, a psychologist is forced to confront a terrifying, unexplained realm after one of her patients vanishes into a mysterious alternate dimension. Based on the conversation we hear in the teaser, well, it sounds like Ejiofor is going to be that patient, and Reinseva is going to be the therapist listening to him. I'm gonna bet that she thinks he's a bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs at first, before realizing that he really did find a way into the backrooms, and will venture in to try to rescue him from whatever threat is in there. But something else that's significant here, well, it isn't what is mentioned, but rather what isn't mentioned. And that would be Async, the organization that allegedly discovered the backrooms first and is trying to take advantage of it in the web series. Now, to be clear, that doesn't mean that Async won't be in the movie. I'd actually be surprised if they weren't. It's entirely possible that Ejiofor's character is an employee there, or heck, maybe even Reinseva could be a therapist employed by Async. But it's notable that they're nowhere here in the marketing yet, considering that the yellow jumpsuits are such a huge part of Kane's backroom lore and iconography. And if Kane wanted to go in the direction of not including Async in this movie, or just have them be a small part of the story, that could go a long way in actually expanding out the universe that he set up here. I mean, that original viral video basically didn't have really anything to do with Async. So if Ejiofor was just some guy who independently finds a portal into the backrooms, or he makes one himself, or he's part of another organization, that could set up a lot of conflict later down the road if the film is successful enough and they want to do more of them. That separation would also let people going into this world who have no idea about the web series still follow the story and not feel like they have to go watch all of that content and then explainers and theories to get the full picture. Man, look at me here just sitting, plotting out the whole backroom cinematic universe from one line in a movie synopsis. Either way, at least from this trailer, we can definitively say that Async isn't involved in this story yet. But something else that stuck out to me in the teaser was this line.
And the more times it remembers something, the less it does.
This tickled my theorist brain for a few reasons. At this point, you've probably heard that eyewitness testimony is notoriously unreliable. So much so that nationally, 69% of exonerations in the United States involve eyewitness misidentification. Similarly, this line also probably heard that eyewitness testimony is notoriously unreliable. So much so that nationally, 69% of exonerations in the United States involve eyewitness misidentification. Similarly, this line also reminded me of a study I came across while perusing the sciencey side of the internet. What? You guys don't read science papers for fun? It's good dinner conversation. Anyway, according to a study from Northwestern University, memory is, well, it's weird. The first time you remember something, it's very clear and likely fairly accurate. Have you ever had an intense flashback to something from your childhood that you hadn't thought about in years and years, and you could remember every exact detail? Well, that's why. However, the next time you remember that same thing, you're not remembering the original memory. You're remembering the last time you remembered it. You're recalling the version of events that was in your brain the last time you thought about it. Now, if that event just happened, well, it's still probably going to be fairly accurate, and remembering it over and over will help solidify what happened in your brain. It'll make that memory stronger. But if it's an old memory, every time you think about it, it's going to be slightly different than the last. And then slightly different the next time, and then again, and again, and again, until what you're remembering kind of looks like what actually happened. The broad strokes are probably correct, but the fine details are going to be frayed at the edges. You might remember having an important conversation with someone, but start losing the number of shelves on the bookshelf in the room, or what exactly the chair in the corner looked like, or exactly how the light was streaming in through the windows. Similar to what we see in this Backrooms teaser. And really, this kind of plays into the original idea of the Backrooms, right? The meme, I mean, not necessarily Kane's series about it. The reason so many people thought the first Backrooms picture and caption were so creepy is because they felt like they'd been there before. It felt so familiar and yet so different, so uncanny, like some distorted recreation of something that actually happened. That's true for all liminal spaces in online horror. It's the place in between places that you feel like you've seen before, but are slightly different than what you recall. It's just off enough to not be exactly what's from your life, but close enough to be recognizable. There are moments lost to your past, warped by time and distance. And while we're on the subject of memory, it should also be noted that organizations within the United States have taken huge interest in remembering and memory before, particularly as part of a program called MK Ultra. If you don't know, MK Ultra was a program undertaken by the CIA between the 1950s and 1970s with hopes of creating procedures or finding drugs that could change how humans behave. They did a lot of terrible things and looked into a lot of horrible ideas, including something called the Perfect Concussion Program. This hoped to use sound blasts to erase memories and targets, but thankfully this was never carried out. But elsewhere, they performed the Montreal experiment, which hoped to treat schizophrenia. How? Well, by changing the memories and erasing thoughts using everything from drugs, electroconvulsive therapy, sensory deprivation, and even torture. It was brutal, and it didn't even really work. But it is worth noting here because organizations like Async here in the Backrooms would take a keen interest in memory alteration, especially if the Backrooms was remembering things, right? There may be some inspiration pulled from this just terrible part of history in the film, especially if one of the main characters is a therapist and we're exploring the psychological part of the Backrooms horror. But even more interesting and maybe relevant for us today, well, there may be a link between memory loss and another huge part of the Backrooms lore, bacteria. Yeah, you know how there's a recurring monster within Kane's Backrooms that's sort of like a bacteria life form fellow skulking around the halls and causing the deaths of several characters? Well, according to scientific research, bacteria may be linked to mental decline and memory loss. Yeah, this research team looked through 58 human studies from all around the world and found a weird connection between the gut, the immune system, and the brain. See, people who were healthy, people who had mild cognitive impairments, and people with Alzheimer's disease, the most common form of dementia, all three had different amounts and different types of bacteria in their guts. That would basically suggest that those different types of bacteria are somehow linked to that mental decline. Now, this particular research is incredibly new. It's just from January of this year. So unless Kane just has a massive brain or can see the future, he didn't have this in mind when he was developing the lore for his version of the Backrooms. But the fact that this story is moving into the idea of memories, misremembering, and that bacteria have been such an integral part of this story, this is absolutely a direction that this narrative could head in. If the Backrooms is somehow alive and is creating these rooms and hallways... The complex is based on its memory. Well, this bacteria life form fellow could very well be the root of all the areas and neighborhoods that just feel wrong. The Backrooms basically has dementia, which would suggest...
It's own motherfucker. Oh, my body.
It's sort of alive, right? And believe it or not, but that does line up with a lot of ideas that are kind of out there. So there are a lot of different theories.
Yeah, I think he might be
that there are conspiracies about how the universe works, whether or not it's alive. Some people believe that it's way more likely that we're living in a simulated reality with implanted memories and historical events than it is that we're living in a real world where all of those things actually happened. Similar to the Matrix. We actually covered that in depth in our previous Backroom videos, so Kane has fully debunked that version of this universe. Another idea is that, because we're part of the universe and are experiencing it, therefore, at least part of the universe itself is alive. The universe is a living organism, and we are like cells within its body or thoughts within its mind. It's high concept, but that's really sweet, and I kind of dig it. But another theory connected to this entire idea and why I wanted to talk about this is known as the Boltzmann brain. The Boltzmann brain thought experiment is the work of Austrian mathematician and theoretical physicist Ludwig Boltzmann. He suggested that it's way, way more likely for a brain to just pop into existence in the void of space, all of the memories of the universe as we know it, than it is for the entire universe to have begun and gone on for billions of years like most cosmologists believe that it did. How and why? Well, if you give it enough time, random fluctuations in matter could cause particles to just spontaneously appear, and they could be structured like literally anything. They could randomly come into existence as the Brooklyn Bridge, or a copy of Halo 3, or a bottle of gamer subs. Use code FILM30 for 10% off your order.
GTA 6.
Now, this could apply to the backrooms in a number of ways. The entire world of the backrooms could literally just be something invented by one of these Boltzmann brains, implanted memories in a mind that just spontaneously came into being. Or, what's maybe more likely, these rooms are being spontaneously created by fluctuations in the particles of the universe. Like, if Kane really wanted to, things could get really weird and really out there for the backrooms lore with a reveal like that. And honestly, this idea of warped memories also recontextualizes a lot of the web series, particularly the video I Remember. If you don't, well, remember, this was a strange video in the series. It wasn't explicitly set anywhere in the timeline, and it was more of an artistic, stylized piece than any of the other found footage videos. Yeah, there was no poor async employee or unfortunate rando wandering around in this one.
Yeah.
It just featured trippy imagery while a voice read poetry over it. That voice describes a house that it once had, overlooking the sea. But one day, the house collapsed into the ocean, settling in the seabed to be forgotten with all of the silt and the seashell. But the person speaking remembers it. It remembers the house at the bottom of the ocean. What if this is the voice of the backrooms? Whatever entity that is remembering these rooms and these landscapes. Sad that the house that it used to have, some old universe or memories of a time gone by, are starting to warp. Those old memories have fallen into the sea, so to speak. And the more and more it tries to remember that house, the more and more it remembers it wrong. I, for one, cannot wait to find out where this is headed when this movie hits theaters, man. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Up next on Film Theory, the horrors inside the backrooms are now in the real world.
What?
And none of us are safe.
Oh, shit. Alright, guys, this is gonna be it for the video. Make sure you like and subscribe for more day videos like these. And yeah, that's it. See y'all in the